How many mini splits do you need? Today we're looking at this garage slash carport that's being remodeled. It's being turned into some living quarters, one bed, one bath, and I'm installing a mini split, but I'm only installing one mini split. And some would say this needs 2 mini splits or it needs 3 mini splits. But I'm going to explain to you why I'm only installing one mini split and why it's going to work and what options I give to the contractor and the homeowner to make sure that we get the best comfort possible and efficiency out of our new mini split. Let's go inside and take a look at the before, then we're going to take a look at the after. All right, let's take a look inside. So that right there is going to be the main bedroom. That's going to be the bathroom. This is going to be the kitchen area, and this is the main living area. They're going to have a foam roof, and then the walls are going to be batted R19, R13 insulation. So this is less than 400 square foot. That means I don't need a lot of tonnage. I'm going to put my wall mount air handler right there because this is the most open area. And if I heat and cool the biggest part of this house, then I know if I open a door to the bathroom, I have a bath fan to suck in air. And then the bedroom, we can undercut the door 2 inches to make sure we have plenty of air. Mini splits and cooling, the indoor fan almost runs 24/7. So that constant positive pressure is going to make its way in that room. So this is something that I think about when I'm sizing for my mini splits, and especially when I have a foam building. Foam makes it 1,000 square foot per ton. If this is less than 500 square foot, that means we definitely have less than 1 ton. We probably have less than 9,000 BTUs of a load. So I'm going to install a 1 ton unit because I know anything less than 250 square foot, I'm definitely not going over 1 ton. And this room is about 250 square foot. So I'm going to put my unit right here. That right there is where my wall mount's going to go. And I'm going to do a rough-in box right here, okay? Line sets are going to go out the top. Drain's going to go down the bottom and out the front. There's going to be a little trench in the front so I can run my drain. I'm going to run my line sets up all the way to the back and then down the wall and then out towards the bottom so I don't have line sets from the top all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to put my outdoor unit. Can't wait to show you the after though. This is going to be awesome. But some would say, what are you going to do about the bedroom? I don't have to worry about the bedroom. Take care of the main area. This is a foam house. We don't have a lot of infiltration. This room, I guarantee you, and we're going to take and measure temperature when we get done. I guarantee this room is going to be the same temperature as this room. So take care of your bigger areas. If it's foam, you don't have to have 2 or 3 units. Just do 1. All right, let's go to the after and let me show you. But before, let's take a look at where the outdoor unit's going to go. This right here is where the outdoor unit's going to go. Line sets are going to come down to the outdoor unit and it's going to set on a pad. I'm not going to set it on this older brick wall. I don't want to hurt the integrity. This is older brick. So if it was new construction, I wouldn't mind just mounting it, but I'm not sure this is poured, and plus we've got these cracks, so just keep that in mind. I don't want to hurt the structure's integrity. So all right, let's see what it looks like after. Giving you a progress update before I show you the installed ductless mini split. We have done the rough in, so we've got the line sets installed, we have the rough in box, and now we're ready to set the equipment. So we're ready to install the outdoor and the indoor unit. Let's take a look at the progress. This is where our outdoor unit is going to be, and this is where our line sets come from the indoor to the outdoor. Looks like they got some 3-inch PVC here. That is nice. This is our outdoor breaker box, so we'll run conduit from the outdoor unit to this box, and then there is a place for a breaker here. So we got 100 amp for the house, and then we'll have a double pole, probably a 20 breaker for that 1 ton unit. It's going to have a number 12 wire, 12-2, and that should be perfect. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell, ding, so you know what I'm doing. If you want help with your project or tech support, click that join button. Become a member. Let me know in the comments, say I joined, and I will give you my email, and that can lead to contact with me. Check out other videos I've got, like how to size your ductwork, how to price equipment. When I am sizing my ductless mini splits, I always consider airflow. I always look at the certain model equipment, and I go online on SamsungHVACDownloads.com and I pull up the manual for the equipment, and then I look at the airflow pattern. I look at how far will that model of that air handler throw that air. And that is something that matters to me, because if I can't get air from point A to point B, then I'm going to have comfort issues. Now I'm going to talk to you about what happens if you oversize the equipment. Say I take, and instead of installing a 1-ton wall mount air handler here that blows about 15 foot, which 15 foot would be halfway into that bedroom right there. Say I installed a 3-ton unit. A 3-ton does about 2,000 square foot. I installed it there and it blows around 30 or 40 feet. What happens when the air circulates back into that air handler? Well, it short cycles. It shuts the equipment off before it should shut off. It shuts it off too often. It doesn't run enough. That affects the efficiency of the equipment and the longevity of the equipment. So being that I have a 1-ton model that will go down to 3,000 BTUs and upwards of about 14 to 15,000 BTUs, then I'm able to vary my refrigerant flow enough to have the right efficiency and also not to short cycle. So you got to be really aware of how much open room you have, and the fact that I have these doors here makes it really good for the unit, because when they're not here, they can open the door and have the air move into that room, and that will keep the unit running for longer cycles. Now, something I may run into with this project is overheating. I may have an overheating issue. They may set this unit to 70, it gets to 70, and then because the equipment's fan just keeps running and the outdoor unit shuts off, that coil is still hot. So it may produce a very, very warm space in here. It may be 75 or 80 degrees, but the equipment shut off. I may need to put a code in that unit from VRF Coder to be able to shut that indoor fan off whenever the set temperature is satisfied. So that's something I can run into, but I always check airflow. Airflow matters. You don't need to put a 2-ton unit in that blows 30 foot across a room and you have a door or you have a wall that's 10 foot from the unit. That's not going to work, and it's going to cause short cycling. So I don't want that. I want long life and good efficiency for my equipment. This is going to be perfect. There's no need to install another air handler in the bedroom and another air handler in here, because of course we don't have very much thermal loss or infiltration, air from inside to outside, because we have foam. You want to learn more about sizing mini splits with foam insulation? Check out my playlist, HVAC Tips for Technicians, also Tips for Homeowners. I got some videos on there to learn more about mini splits. Now, things that you can do to be able to add more airflow into your room, your bathroom, and your bedroom here. Let's talk about that for a minute. I have had contractors frame out holes and just frame it out with sheetrock and have a star or a circle or a square up high. That way the air can go through. I have had doors undercut, because a normal gap in a door is around 1 inch at the bottom, but you could undercut it 2 inches. Or you could put a grill in the ceiling up here somewhere and have a grill on the bottom and the top to make sure that air can travel. You could do the same thing on one of these walls if you wanted to, but undercutting the doors works really well. You could undercut the bathroom door, and that coupled with a bath fan would be able to pull enough air in here to make that bathroom nice and comfortable. Although you could still add a diffuser up top if you wanted to. I don't think that's necessary. I've done this quite a bit on projects. I've just had one unit in the main area and it's all worked out. So I think it's going to work out just fine. This is where our drain is exiting from that rough-in box, and there's going to be a little drainage channel somewhere out front that drain is going to go into. And that right there, that drain is coming from that box down. You can't see it, and it's going through the wall. All right. We're back, and of course, this is not finished, but the equipment is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the install. Let's go take a look. Security. Let's see what we got here. Beautiful wall mount. Beautiful. And we're going to have quite a bit of room. Actually, the ceiling's going on top of those ceiling joists, which usually that's not what you see, but that's what's happening with this one. So here's my wall mount air handler. It's a 1 ton. Got my vanes up here, so I can turn this one this way and, you know, turn these the other way, which I'm probably going to go ahead and do. I'm going to turn that over there so I can blow some of that air this way. This is going to work out perfectly. This model will blow the air around 10 to 15 feet, so it's going to blow plenty through this door here. It's going to be beautiful. Let me show you the outdoor unit. Got a drain right here in the front, and this is where our drain is going to terminate right here, so that's going to be perfect. I'll probably bring that down against the wall and then go down into this little drain. Beautiful. Look at that little line height cover. And then our wire for the 1 ton goes right in here. Beautiful breaker, and it's labeled. I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Looks good. Exciting. Love it. And didn't mount it on the brick wall. We don't want to mount it on a brick wall. It's cracked. So it wouldn't be too smart. Let's talk about budget. Let's talk about square footage and sizing. When you talk about budget, the more heads you have, the more indoor air handlers you have on one condenser, the higher the price is going to be, because you have the cost of the air handler, you have the cost of the materials for the air handler, and then you have the labor that's going to be for the installation of said air handler, right? So budget, when we talk about budget, the less units you can do in your home, the cheaper it's going to be for you. And that's what's great about having this foam insulation. Since I can foam insulate, if I had an open area and I can do 1 unit and take care of the whole entire house, even though I had 4 or 5 bedrooms, that would be awesome. So keep that in mind. I have done really, really, really large 3,000 square foot houses with only 1 ceiling cassette. So it worked out great. The electric bill was less than $100, and it kept the job cost down for that air conditioner and the installation. So the more heads you have, the more it's going to be as far as the cost for that equipment and the install. So keep that in mind. Now, sizing and square footage. Now, I've already given you a rule of thumb, 1,000 square foot per ton with foam. So I know for sure that I'm probably, with a 400 square foot project like this, that I'm less than half a ton, right? I'm at a half a ton. I put in a unit that's 12,000 BTUs. It'll do well above that in heating and cooling, and it'll do about 30% of that 12,000 BTU capacity. It'll go down. It'll probably go down to 4,000 or 5,000 BTUs, which is going to be great. We're not going to need 100% in a foam insulated house. We probably will never need that. We're going to have new windows and we've got the best insulation. So, but when it comes to sizing this equipment, it's very important that you look at the airflow and how are we going to get airflow to each room. That's super important. If you don't have a plan, then you're going to have to do more than 1 unit. You're going to have to do a unit per room. You need to make sure that when you are sizing this equipment, you look at the airflow, right? There's charts on Samsung's website, on samsunghvac.com, and you can also look at submittals. Submittals tell me things like, hey, this unit's rated for 12,000 BTUs, but in cooling and heating, it will go up to this and go down to this. It'll actually give me those figures, which is great. Now, there's also charts where I can see the airflow, and since I know this only blows 10 to 15 foot, it's going to be perfect. But if I was to put a 2 or 3 ton unit in here and it blew the air 30 or 40 foot, then that's going to cause some noise. It's going to cause the unit to shut off sooner, and I don't need that. So budget. Now, let's go into really exactly how we think about sizing. In a room that is less than 250 square foot, if it's standard insulation, I'm not going over 1 ton. Right? Even if it's a server room. But we're going to look at server rooms differently. You know, the square footage and sizing, it's more for a server room, or a computer room, data room. But when it comes to a standard insulated home, if you got a 100 square foot room, you better not go over 7,000 BTU or 9,000 if that's the model of equipment you have to choose from. Do not put a 1 ton unit in a 100 square foot room. Okay? If it's foam, then you need to make sure that anything less than 250 square foot, you're not going over a 1 ton. And that's how I do it. If we're looking at less than 500 to 600 square foot standard insulation, you can go with a 1 ton unit on that, unless it's a sunroom or something. or it's a room with a lot of windows, which would pretty much be a sunroom, right? So you got to look at the application. You got to take into consideration the foam. This is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic for this home. The cost was a lot cheaper than going with 2 or 3 heads. I know it's not going to be oversized. I'm going to have less of a chance to have high humidity, and they're going to have less of an electric bill, which is fantastic. I bet you the electric bill for this place will be $50. I guarantee it'll be around $50, probably less than $50. So I'm looking forward to that for the customer. Let's talk for a minute. Let's make sure I got everything. I think I got everything. If you want a sheet that I've got for sizing mini splits, it will tell you exactly how you need to size and what you need to make sure that you're aware of. Then click that join button, become a member, and I'll send you that mini split sizing guide, and that'll help you. All right. This is a quantum single zone mini split system made by Samsung. It's super nice. It displays the temperature right here. And if you want to know more, check out my playlist. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have a question, leave it down in the comments. Go check out the other video on sizing mini splits and foam. It's in the link in the description. If you don't have a question, that's okay. Let me know who you are and where you're from. Do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell. Ding! You've been watching HVAC Tips for Homeowners. I'm Tad, and I'll keep you cool if you let me.